Okay, so let's look at how we can implement this function. It accepts a parameter which is an array of strings called names, and it returns a string which is the longest name found in that array. The first thing we want to do is we want to calculate the length of our array and store it into a variable size, so that we know how many cells exist in this array, and then hence build our loop based on that. The second thing we want to do is initialize a variable called longest name or whatever that would store the longest name we've found so far, and we want to initialize it to names of 0, which is the first name in our array. Then we want to create our loop that would start from 1, which is the very next name after that one, and it would keep going just before it reaches the size of the array. The increment is just I++, as usual. Inside that loop, we want to compare the length of each cell in that array to the longest name that we've found so far. So we say if names of I, which is the string in that particular cell of the array at the position I, we say if names of I dot length, so we're measuring the length of that particular string, and we're comparing it to the longest name dot length, which should be storing the longest name we found so far. So if that name dot length is actually larger than the longest name dot length, then we update the longest name to be that name. It's very similar to finding the smallest number in an array as well, except that we're comparing if it's greater than rather than smaller than. After we're done with our loop, that means we've visited every single cell in the array, and we're always updating longest name if we find something that's longer. That means we can safely return longest name. There we go.